Good morning, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. We are warmly welcome you to this event, which is organized by Europe Direct Central Macedonia, Perotis College, an office which is hosted by the American Farm School. The Agro Hub, which is a spin-off of the Agricultural University of Athens, and Europe Direct Attica Praxi Network, an office which is hosted by the Foundation for Research and Technology, Hellas. Europe Direct Network is a structure which aims to increase the awareness about European policies towards the general public and other audiences, as well as to raise the engagement about Europe in general. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic that has to do with the European policies for the industry, alongside with a panel of very distinguished experts. But before going to that, I would like to inform you about some technical aspects of this event. First of all, as I told you, this event will be recorded and will be available after this session online. Secondly, should you have any questions, kindly send them on the chat and do not open your microphones in order to submit them. And finally, all those who have registered will have the opportunity to receive a certificate. And after the end of this session, you will receive an email with details describing what should you do in order to download them. Now, please allow me to give the floor to my colleague, Ms. Katerina Roumeliotti, who will give a short introduction. Katerina, please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Green Shift. I would like to thank you also by my side for being here. Mrs. Koukouli also, who is attending with her class from the amphitheater of the Perotis College here at the American Farm School, and all the teachers, professors, and students from Perotis College and the Agricultural University of Athens who attend the event and helped for its promotion. Following Yorgos' introduction, and before moving to our first speaker, I would like to make a short reference to the idea of this event, which focuses on the first strategic priority of the European Commission for the next 5-year period, the competitive compass, which aims to safeguard and boost Europe's competitiveness, prosperity, and fairness. Recently, the new European Commission was appointed by the European Council, beginning its...
Δεν το γνωρίζω αυτό, το πώς τα διαδικαστικά δηλαδή και τα δικαιολογητικά σας. Εντάξει, όχι, δεν το γνωρίζω.
Okay. So, as I said recently, the new European Commission was appointed by the European Council, beginning its term from this December 2024 until October 2029. And following the Draghi report, the new Commission has designated and communicated 7 strategic priorities for the next 5 years period. The Draghi report was called The Future of the European Competitiveness and actually served as a roadmap for setting those priorities for the next 5 years. And according to this report, the only way forward for Europe to move on in a world that the global economy is changing rapidly is through greater integration. The report acknowledges that the member states should finance and undertake all necessary reforms, and that the period that the EU relied on cheap Russian energy, boundless Chinese markets, and US security should be over. So the key objectives of this priority refer to a clean industrial deal, to a more circular and resilient economy, putting research and innovation at the heart of the economy, tackling the skills and labor gaps to improve people's careers, as well as digital tech diffusion and making business easier. Soon, more specific measures and acts will be taken and announced, especially within the first 100 days of the Commission, in response to those objectives. But what all this mean? We thought that through the presentation of specific projects, especially on circular economy, we will highlight most of those objectives in a more clear way. We can see exact examples of the novelties and the new technologies that Europe supports and has chosen to invest to and fund. And also we will gain a better insight into the new skills required and emerging by those innovative technologies and the shift to circular suggestions. All these are aligned with the main strategies and key EU policies, and especially the European Green Deal and the Circular Economy Action Plan. And in the end of the Today program, we will make with Yorgos a short reference to all EU funding programs and instruments that support circular economy, but generally having in mind that the sustainability principles are applied not only to all programs, but are integrated and reflected in all procedures horizontally, like procurement, for example. So now I will give the floor to Mr. Ilias Livanos, expert from the European Centre for the Development of Vocational Training, for his presentation on labour shortages in Europe.
Good morning. I don't know if you can see me. I cannot see myself on the video. Could you please confirm whether you can see me or not?
We are not able to see you.
You're not
Mr.
able to see
Livanos.
me. Okay, let me see. Because my camera is playing some games on me. Stop video. Let me start video again. Can you see me now? You cannot.
Unfortunately not.
Let me. Okay, use video. Okay. I think it may be coming up. Let me just. Don't know really what's going on with my video.
Would you possibly like to try sharing your screen?
I could do that. I could do that. And
thank you very much.
Okay, virtual logger still loading. Start video anyway. Okay, let me see. You cannot see me. Okay, but I will share my screen in any case. Okay.
Perfect. We can see your screen. Maybe we can correct the issue of the video later. I don't know if you would like to proceed with your presentation and figure out how can we fix this issue later.
Yes, definitely. I think the problem with the video is coming from my end. I think I messed up something. Let me see if I can quickly sort this out. Otherwise, I will proceed with my presentation as you suggest. But no, I don't think it's gonna happen. Okay, in any case, maybe I will start with my presentation, and unfortunately, you will not be able to. Okay.
Certainly.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Ναι, τη θέλω.
So no. Okay, then fine. Let me proceed with my presentation then. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I will be talking about labor shortages, as the title of my presentation suggests. I'm an expert at CEDEFOP. CEDEFOP is the Center for the Development of Vocational Education in Europe, and it is hosted here in Thessaloniki. And we do lots of work in the area of skills identification, and I will just present you a short, I'll present you one of the pieces of work that we do. Okay, so let me just move on. Right, okay, so skill shortages or labor shortages are indeed at the heart of the EU agenda. the Vice President Margaritis Chinas suggested that labor and skill shortages are becoming endemic and addressing them is now a must-do. The Draghi report that was mentioned just before says that the EU is suffering from persistent shortages and definitely it could hinder future competitiveness in Europe. And indeed, the Commission has presented an action plan to tackle skill shortages or labor shortages where data, of course, gathering and skills intelligence is at center stage. And this is the contribution that we make at CEDEFOP, trying to cover this gap, if you like, in data. But what do we mean by skills or labor shortages? Because as you see in this cloud, it means different things to different people. It could be a mismatch between in the end of the day, it is a mismatch between what is demanded and what is offered, whether this is a job, it is a qualification, it is specialty, or whatever. And often we see that it often refers to some skills that the workforce is lacking in order to do specific tasks at work. But in our case, we focus on labor shortages and shortages being proxied by the occupations. So having said that, the question remains about how do we actually measure skill shortages? And this is an issue that has been bothering me personally a lot. 20 or so years ago, when I was studying for my PhD, I was trying to look at the literature and see how other people go about measuring skill shortages. And indeed, all I came across was a bunch of definitions and citations from people and institutions saying that labor shortages are actually quite difficult to measure, and a single empirical measure is very difficult to develop. So 20 years later, I thought things could be a bit better, and I even asked ChatGPT to give me a more recent definition. And indeed, what it came up with is that accurately measuring skill shortages can be challenging due to various factors, including data limitations, labor market dynamics, and the subjective nature of skill assessments, whatever that is. ChatGPT knows for sure. But the point that I'm trying to pass here is that actually measuring skill shortages could be quite challenging, given that we don't even know what they actually mean, as they mean different things to different people. So moving on. Right, but even though we do have different typologies and different data, there are lots of studies out there that are trying to accurately measure skill shortages, and they use different data. I list here a few of them. More recently, we do use online job vacancies, which means that we look at the online jobs ad out there and trying to see what is really the demand and how this corresponds to the supply, and all sorts of data that I list and surveys. But let me get into CEDEFOP's work on labor shortages, and I will talk about this new indicator that we're just about to launch. It is called Labor and Skill Shortage Index. It's something that leverages the data that we have available from our skills forecast. For those that don't know, the skills forecast is a database that we have developed at CEDEFOP. It is running for 20 years now and is looking ahead 10 to 15 years and makes predictions about future demand for occupations and sectors across all member states in a harmonized way and comparable across all member states. And we think that labor shortages could be measured by looking at three unique aspects. The first one is demand, so future demand for specific occupation. Growing future demand for specific occupation could mean that it is likely to face a shortage in the future. Then we look at the supply, and the supply is coming mainly from replacements, and this is an area that we often neglect, and this is how many jobs will be opening because of the need to replace existing workers. And we do know that 9 out of 10 job openings occur because of the need to replace existing workers. And if we don't take this into consideration, we definitely don't have a good picture about the future. And the last one is an indicator on imbalances that we have. We look at the future available supply and compares with the demand from the projections. And then we're able to see by occupation whether there will be a mismatch between what is demanded and what would be available. So let me get into providing some results. And this is the very aggregate level of occupations. As you may know, occupations are being classified by international classification, ISCO in the particular case. And what you see here are the broad level occupations, starting from the high skilled on the top towards the lower skilled as we go at the bottom. And some technical details is that the shortage is being captured by a scale from 1 to 4, 4 denoting a very strong shortage, 1 denoting no shortage or surplus. And some other technical details is that we have adopted equal weights for the 3 dimensions, and we have used an arithmetic average. These are details, but they're important because they could end up with providing different results, whether we have chosen a different approach. So what do we see at the very aggregate level? Mainly we see that there will be skill or labor shortages across the skill spectrum. On top, in the middle, and at the bottom, we see that the shortages will be the strongest. So starting with the top level of skills, we see that for what we call managers, there will be a strong shortage. Within the bar, you see the score in the 3 elements. And the same will be at the bottom of the skill spectrum. So for elementary occupations, the shortage will be intense. But when we look at what brings the shortage, we see that there are different reasons behind it. So at the top level of skills for the managers, we see that the shortage is mainly coming from the demand for new professionals and replacement needs. And this is important, of course, because when we know that we'll have strong needs for replacements for occupations that they require high level of skills, then we need to be ready to replace them adequately, because the skills of a manager is not something that you can easily teach at the university, but sometimes other attributes of the individual, like experiences, are quite important. Nevertheless, let me make a parenthesis and say that, you know, these 2 days at CEDEVOP, we have a big conference, and our keynote speaker was really putting the blame on managers on many of the things that have been happening in Europe, because their training is outside management. So they really find themselves in a position to have to manage something without being trained to be managers. So you could also say that the future could be brighter, because most of the managers by 2035 will have be replaced. Okay, so having said that, when we look at the lower level of skills, elementary occupations, then we see that the shortage is mostly coming from the imbalance side, which mainly means that because we don't have enough low-skilled people in numbers, which is of course a good thing because we have a higher level of education, these occupations, they are typically filled by people who hold higher level of education. Of course, this could be a problem or not. It depends on the angle that you see. So let me move on. These are the high-skilled occupation professionals broken down by the different groups. I will just pick a few examples. We already talked about the managers, which are the very top. Then when we look at the shortage, we need to start thinking why is causing the shortage and whether this shortage could be a problem for the future. For instance, the strongest shortage across the European Union would be for legal, social, and cultural professionals, and that's the situation in all member states. But we know that these occupations, they're heavily impacted by technology, so the shortage may not be as intense as would be for other professionals. And given that education for that professionals is not as demanding as others, maybe the threat is not as strong. And let's look at science and engineering professionals and health professionals. Well, starting with health professionals, educating them is really difficult because it's very expensive. It takes a lot of time to to get a degree in medicine, and of course, convincing people to be directed towards this direction is quite difficult. And this could be a threat for the future, given that we're through a phase that Europe is aging very fast, and unfortunately, the core workforce, that is the workforce that is aged between 25 and 55, which is the core workforce, unfortunately is shrinking, and this situation is not getting any better. And the same is for science and engineering professionals, and linking to the Draghi report, this could be a threat to productivity and competitiveness for the future. And indeed, Mario's Draghi team has contacted me, and we have been looking at the results that I'm showing you together, and he has been using the labor and skill shortage indicator to make some estimations about the impact that labor shortages could bring to future competitiveness. Okay, so this is about the high-skilled occupations, and I will not go through all the occupations. Of course, we do offer all this in an online tool that will be out probably next week, so you have a first glimpse of the results. And let's have a look at the medium level of skills. There are two things to see there. For some occupations, like the clerical workers, there will be no shortage, but also we know that the impact of technology for these medium skilled occupations would be very strong. So the situation could be even less important for the future. But if we look at other occupations like personal care workers, that again, the level of education may not be, that high, we do know that such occupations, they need a special skill set to perform their work, and this cannot be automated. And I was in an event for the care sector recently, and the representatives for there were saying that their motto is that to care is to have a human heart. So my question is, how can you educate to have a human heart, and how can you automate a human heart? Probably is a rhetorical question, and there is some food for thought there, for sure. Now, this is the broad situation for some occupations, but of course you need to start looking at member states to get an idea about what is happening. I'm not expecting you to be in a position to read what I throw there. It is a heat map. All the rows represent the member states, and all the columns represent the occupations, and dark red color indicates a future shortage, and blue indicates no shortage. So the main idea there, what I'm trying to pass here, is that the situation would be different across different member states. Well, there could be some countries like Slovakia or Czechia or Poland that the shortage is concentrated on the high level of skills, while there are no shortages for the low level of skills, while there are other countries such as Bulgaria and Ireland where the shortages will appear for the lower level of skill. And there are some other countries like Greece or Spain or Netherlands that we will have shortages across the skills spectrum. Okay, so I think I will stop here. I think I have consumed my time. I will just thank you for your attention. I apologize for the technical glitch. Probably you're not missing too much, but you have not been able to see me. So thank you for your attention, and in case you have any reflections or any questions, happy to answer. Otherwise, all this data will be available very soon, and you'll be able to browse by level of skill and for all countries. So I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elias Livanos. We are very lucky to have heard and presented the most updated information. Thank you very much. And we move on to the next speaker, Mr. Christos Vasilikiotis, Associate Dean for Research and Head of the Department of Sustainable Agriculture and Management at the Perotis College of the American Farm School. Christo, please unmute.
Sorry, yes, I forgot to unmute. Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Katerina, for the introduction. Let me start sharing my screen. Oops, sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes. It
All right.
is.
Okay, so my presentation is on circular economy and how circular economy can be applied to agriculture. So we'll be discussing some innovative uses of waste products that become actually used as soil improvers as part of the information in circular economy. So I will start by defining circular bioeconomy and what can also be called the circular agriculture, and then discuss this innovative fertilizer product, Orgfert, the effects that it has on wheat production. There'll be showcased from the results of a field trial at the American Farm School at Perotis College, and conclude and recommendations for similar uses. So when we talk about circular economy, you have to remember that for the longest time, we're all referring to our economy as a linear model. So in a linear economy, we have raw materials being extracted, then used in production, produce products, those being used, sold to consumers, and after the use, they're being discarded and going to waste, into different excuse me. I'm in a meeting. Become a waste. Now, then we move to reuse economy, where we have raw materials that are used for production. Then they become used, and then part of the used and discarded materials are being recycled and put back in production. So some of the raw materials are being saved, but then still we have, in the end, non-recyclable waste that ends up in our landfills in a waste stream. Now, moving on to circular economy, which is what the European economy is trying to move to in order to become more competitive. In the circular economy, we have the raw materials are being used initially. We produce different products. Those are being used by consumers, by end users. Then those are being recycled, and we eliminate the waste. So the whole system keeps using the recycling of waste products, which are not called waste anymore, becoming byproducts, into production, thus minimizing raw materials and what ends up in landfills and waste. Agriculture is a bioeconomy, and it's one of the easiest economies to be converted to a circular economy. Agriculture is unique that it relies on natural resources and natural cycles for its primary inputs, nutrients, fertility products. But what I've been using up to now is those resources have been used beyond sustainable limits, and that will undermine the future and sustainability of agriculture. So instead, we're moving to a circular bioeconomy. Bioeconomy refers to when the initial raw materials, instead of being chemically produced, they're biological products produced by natural sources, bacterial sources, plants, animals. So in circular bioeconomy, we try to use both raw materials that are naturally produced and then cycle those through the system. And agriculture can become, as I said, one of the prime examples of what we can call circular bioeconomy or circular agriculture. The focus is to minimize the use of raw materials, for example, synthetic fertilizers that have a lot of negative effects both in soil, in climate change through greenhouse gas emissions, and any other harmful substances, and also minimizing waste. So the goal is the residual products of one chain to become feedstocks to feed in through another production chain, creating as much as possible a closed loop agriculture. So we'll see an example of that. Now, in circular agriculture, our goal is to replace fossil fuel-based inputs, all the fertilizers that are based on fossil fuels, into bio-based inputs, through nutrient cycling to reduce the needs for any fertilizers, so allow natural cycles to produce fertility for the crops in agriculture, and then manage any waste as through recycling, composting, or reuse. So as you can see here, we really try to minimize the raw materials and keep the cycling of materials used in production and consumption. That also has the added benefit that it offsets emissions and reduces greenhouse gases through carbon sequestration, because carbon can be stored in the soil or in the crops, thus reducing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and mitigating climate change. As we all know, the European Union, through the European Green Deal, has a very ambitious target by 2030 to reduce all greenhouse gases by 40 to 50%, and by 2050 to become carbon neutral, which means that whatever emissions we produce, which are inevitable, the equivalent amount will be removing from the atmosphere and storing it in various forms. And one of those can be soil or crops in agriculture. So what I will address today is one of the aspects of a circular economy in agriculture, which is nutrient cycling, and the goal to reduce synthetic fertilizers. That aligns with the EU Farm to Fork strategy that has, as part of the Green Deal, aims to reduce chemical nutrient losses by at least 50% by 2030. That's only 6 years away, or actually 5 years away from now, while maintaining soil fertility. Reducing those nutrient losses will lead to a decrease in chemical fertilizer use by at least 20%. So we have to find ways to replace those chemical fertilizers with something that's bio-based through a circular bioeconomy. At the same time, our goal is to remove carbon dioxide and create long-lived pools in the soil or in trees. And the different carbon sequestration strategies is to store in perennial crops and forests, reducing soil disturbance so we don't lose carbon, and increasing carbon input through different organic fertilizers that actually not only provide fertility, but put carbon back into the soil. And by sequestering carbon into the soil, we have two benefits. One is reduce carbon greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, but also producing organic matter, which is vital for increasing soil health and allowing plants to become less dependent on inputs, either fertilizers or pest control inputs, and creates a much healthier crops and increases productivity. Another big problem we have, especially in the Mediterranean region, is desertification. That is a result both of overuse of soils, but climate change has also becoming a driving force for that, reducing or changing the precipitation patterns. And you can see that the Mediterranean, where Greece is part of, has a very high desertification threat. And that results in soils with high salinity and very alkaline. And for that, using organic fertilizers can try to reverse this this process by decreasing pH of the soil and introducing organic matter, which can help revitalize the soils. So one of these products is called Reg Org Fert. It's produced by Italian company SBS, and the objective is to turn orange peel waste from citrus, which is a large waste stream in Europe and recover sulfur from other industries into high-quality, innovative organomineral fertilizer, which has soil-improving properties. This can be especially useful in alkaline and degraded lands to improve soil fertility and productivity. Here we can look at production of oranges in the EU. We see it's about 6.5 million tons per year. Spain is one of the biggest producers, followed by Italy and Greece. And out of those 6.5 million tons, about 10% or 0.6 million tons of waste are produced every year. This waste, as we said, we don't want to think about it as waste anymore, more as a byproduct, has various applications, can be used to recover different chemicals and other materials, but also can be used through composting for producing soil amendments and soil fertilizers. So in the record fert, they used dried in powder form orange peel waste that is composted, added with sulfur as a byproduct from the industry to create this organic mineral fertilizer that can substitute chemical fertilizers and has the potential, especially integrated soils, to increase productivity. It can lower pH in alkaline and saline soils. It can improve soil chemical and physical characteristics by increasing organic matter, and it can help in stimulation of plant seeds and overall quality improvement in agriculture. Also, this product can contribute to 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Number 2, zero hunger, can improve yield and crop productivity. Clean water that do not leak any waste into the underground water. It's organic based, so it's all being absorbed by the soil. Industry innovation is a patented fertilizer that creates a new process that can be used and be applied by many industries. Responsible production, they're recycling waste, using recycled waste as raw material instead of other sources, and improving life on land by helping improve degraded soils and revert desertification. This product, the record fert, produced by SBS, also received an organic certification, and can be classified as a green and circular economy product because of the organic waste being recycled, and also because it's derived by sulfur as a base product, is not being processed, bentonite and organic waste. So it can be used by organic farmers. So at Perotis College, we run a live program for the last 2 years in order to evaluate the efficiency of this fertilizer in crop production. So we used it for wheat production. You can see here the paper that was produced by Perotis College and our collaborators. We used one of the American Farm School fields, and which is non-irrigated, about 12 hectares. We planted durum wheat, variety is Giulio, and the soil type is clay loam, had alkaline, moderate alkaline, about 8 pH, had very low organic matter, it was salt-free, and high calcium carbonates. And here you can see for the different applications were applied. So we used 3 different treatments. One was the typical chemical fertilizer used by farmers. The other was the record fert fertilizer. And we also used manure as a control for another organic fertilizer. There are 2 dates of seeding. One is December of 2022 and December of 2023, and 2 harvests in June of 23 and June of 24. Now, some of the results, we observed that the yield, the first year was in 2023, was about the same with control. The chemical fertilizer is a little higher yield. But what we noticed the second year of applying the same product in the same field, during a year with a very low precipitation, you can see on the table to the bottom right, in 2024 was only 235 millimeters of precipitation in an area, down from 400 to 450, which is the normal. So it's almost half precipitation. And that very dry year was very surprising to see, and actually expected because of the contribution of this organic fertilizer, that we got almost double the yield compared to the chemical fertilizer. So in a very dry year, we're able to maintain better soil structure, which can hold more water, but also absorb better the water and store it. So that was a very interesting result that shows the benefits of this type of fertilizers. When we look at the weight of the seed, the stem, the root, again, we find out that in the second year, during the dry year, it was actually double than the chemical fertilizer, but also in the first year too. So even though we have a drop in the dry seed weight, still was more than the chemical fertilizer. We also found the length of the stem, the root, was higher. And then we also looked at some soil quality measurements. So the first one, measuring the carbon dioxide flux. This is measuring the microbial activity of the soil. The more microbes, the more CO2 they produce. So it's an indirect way to find out how active, biologically active is the soil. And you can see here in the first year had about the same as the chemical fertilizer, but during the dry year, it still maintained much higher biological activity compared to the chemical fertilizer, meaning that by maintaining more moisture, was able to maintain more activity, which contributed to the higher yield. And that can be shown by measuring soil moisture, was much higher in both years. And the other thing that's very interesting, and that's what is actually part of the goals of this product, to be able to reduce soil pH. And we actually found that in the second year, we went from about 7.9, which was the background, or 8 to the control, we went to 7.6. So we already saw within 2 years of application a significant reduction in pH. So that shows that in a very degraded soil with high pH and salinity, this can be a very useful strategy to slowly balance the soil. And as the organic matter is increasing, we can see, then we find out that this will show even better effects. So conclusions, applying this RecOrgFert, this organic fertilizer that's been produced by waste from orange industry and sulfur, it was able to decrease the pH, increase soil organic carbon or soil organic matter, and CEC, which is the ability to hold more nutrients for longer term, provide to the crops. And it was better, had better microbial activity and higher moisture. For the agronomic traits, most agronomic traits were higher than the control and the one with the chemical fertilizer. And the yield was higher, and especially in the dry, very dry year, the yield was almost double than the chemical fertilizer. So overall, this product was able to improve soil properties and have beneficial effect for soils that have high salinity or high acidity. And it definitely can be used for lands that have been starting to show signs of desertification in order to start improving and regenerating the soils. And a great effect was during the very dry year, something that we should expect with climate change to see more of those dry years. especially during the early spring and summer. So this, again, will be able to help farmers adapt to the effects of climate change. So this concludes my presentation. I want to thank the company SBS for providing this fertilizer product, and also the University Mediterranea of Calabria was another collaborator. And this project was part of the EU Life project that helped us perform this analysis. So thank you for your attention, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasilikiotis, for this very interesting presentation. Please allow me to note that the questions will be addressed at the end of this session. We already have some of them on the chat, but I would like to kindly invite all the colleagues who are involved in this event as participants to send their questions as well on the chat, and we will discuss them at the end. So
let me add something, because
yes,
I have to actually 12, I have to go to another big meeting with the European Horizon project we have. So if I can answer one or two questions now,
of course, Mr. Vasilikiotis, we do have some of them, but please feel free to send more, dear colleagues, if you wish to. So
also,
we have...
Also, allow me to say that if someone has a question afterwards, he can send it to us, and we can forward it to the speaker and send the answers or information later.
Thank you very much, Katerina. So the first question, Mr. Vasilikiotis, has to do with a technical issue. So the question has to do with the nature of organic materials that can be used in order to produce this fertilizer. Can orange peels be used as well for this purpose? So this is the first question. And the second question has to do with the perspective commercial exploitation of such technology. So if a Greek startup or a company would like to produce such a fertilizer, what would the requirements be? What machinery will be needed? What investment will be needed? Do you have an indication about that? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the questions. So for the first one, I think a lot of agricultural waste can be used in this manner too. Composting is something that can be done. There are many methods. This is a specific method, and this company, SBS, is actually producing the equipment to process this orange peel waste and sulfur to make the final fertilizer. So this is more, they created a whole system that somebody can actually purchase, but other ones can develop similar ones. It requires some investment. I don't know the actual figures on the cost of this investment, but if you want to start producing large amounts, then of course it becomes an industrial process. But in a small scale, I would think a startup can work with much smaller scale and look through composting, vermicomposting with earthworms. These are all applications that can use agricultural waste and convert it to very important soil amendments.
One more question, Mr. Vasilikiotis. Mr. The Dean is asking, is there any cost advantage of this biofertilizer to use by farmers against the chemical fertilizer? So can you give a comparison in terms of cost?
I don't know the actual cost, but the benefit is more long-term. For example, we saw that in dry years, it can really counteract the lack of moisture, especially for winter crops like wheat that are not non-irrigated. And again, most products like this, if they start getting into mass production, the cost will be dropped. And at the same time, we have to always remember that the cost of regular fertilizers are very tied to the cost of petroleum. As we expect petroleum will start increasing in price, then all this fertilizer will be increasing in price, and then at some point will become prohibitive. So it's very important to start investing in alternatives for fertilizers before the prices actually become, so big that cannot be used. So right now, I think it can be, competitive in terms of cost. I don't know the exact prices, but the benefits will be more in soil quality and adaptation to different soil degradation. But eventually, we have to move more into organic fertilizers or organic-based fertilizers.
Thank you very much for your responses. If we have no more questions, we can move on to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We can move on to the presentation of Mrs. Angeliki Milioti, who represents the AgroHub, which is a spin-off of the Agricultural University of Athens, and will talk us about another product that can be used in the agricultural process using circular economy practices, and has to do with biopesticides. So, Mrs. Milioti, please, the floor is yours. Feel free to introduce us this new technology that you have developed through this project.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. I'll try to keep my presentation short in order not to deviate too much from the agenda. Let me share my screen first. I think you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank
Okay,
you.
nice. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Angeliki Milioti. I'm very happy to be here with you today. And I'm working at Smart AgroHub as Dissemination, Exploitation and Communication Manager of Horizon and Digital Europe projects. And today I will first present Smart AgroHub to you, and then I will present one of our projects, the next-gen biopest. So, let's see first Smart AgroHub in a glance. As George said, we are a spin-off of the Agricultural University of Athens. We were established in 2021, and the company consists of 10 shareholders. One of them, of course, is the Agricultural University of Athens. So there is a very tight liaison with the Agricultural University of Athens. Currently, we are more than 10 employees. We are keep growing, and we are currently involved in 16 projects. The projects in which we are involved are agri-food projects funded by the European Commission under several programs. Our projects are Horizon Europe, Digital Europe, and of course Erasmus+. And our main role as Smart AgroHub in Horizon and Digital Europe projects is to lead the communication, exploitation, and dissemination work packages. Of course, we have some technical roles as well, but our main role is to lead the work package I mentioned. Also, in the Erasmus Plus projects, we are more than happy to coordinate some of them, while in others we have technical role too. But except the agri-food research projects that are, let's say, the main pillar of our company, we offer some more services. First of all, we offer the service of agricultural experimentation. This means that we have already some fields in Aliartos, Greece, where some experiments regarding digital agriculture take place for scientific reasons, but also for commercial reasons. So there we use several smart farming tools like the EC2 tool that we have developed, and companies can use the service in order to experiment in the sector of digital agriculture. Also, we offer sustainability consulting services, and more specifically, we offer the life cycle assessment service. This means that we collaborate with food industries mainly in order to execute this analysis for them and define the emissions a product has through the life cycle, the whole life cycle. Also, we can see the carbon footprint the product has, etc., etc. Also, a new initiative in Smart Agro Hub is the Smart Agro Lab. The Smart Agro Lab is an incubator for ideas that want to become startups or that are already startups. And Smart Agro Hub, together with the shareholders, offers mentoring and consulting to these ideas in order to reach the market, reach some funding, etc., etc. So, in a glance, this is Smart Agro Hub. And let's pass now to Next Gen Biopest. First, I would like to show you our teaser video, which is a 1-minute video, and then we can proceed with more details.
Biopest is a Horizon Europe project that will develop novel and improved products, methods, and practices for the rational control of the most difficult to manage arthropod pests and pathogens with substantially reduced pesticide use. 22 partners across 10 countries. In Next Gen Biopest, leading institutional and industrial partners will be integrated with drivers of pest control programs. Next Gen Biopest goals will be achieved by targeting industry, end users, and multi-actor stakeholders, implementing knowledge exchange activities, and co-creation of innovative solutions. Integration of leading institutional and industrial partners already well positioned in the biological control agents and biopesticide market with drivers of pest control programs, and driving innovation with new concepts explored by cutting-edge translational technologies. Join the movement towards sustainable pest control. Visit our website and follow us on social media to be part of the change.
This was our teaser video. It is also available on our YouTube channel. And now let's see some more details. So, as I mentioned earlier, NextGen Biopest is a Horizon Europe project. Specifically, it is an innovation action, and the contribution of the European Commission is around 6 million euros. The project started this year in March 2024, and it will end in February 2028. As you saw in the video, we are 22 partners from 11 countries, not only European countries. We also have a partner from Canada, the Western University of Canada. And the coordinator of this project is the Foundation of Research and Technology, which is based in Crete. Dr. Vondas is the coordinator, and Smart Agro Hub's role in this project is to lead the work package of dissemination, exploitation, and communication. Let's see now the objectives of the project. First of all, the main objective of this project is to develop some sustainable some environmentally friendly pesticides. But first, before developing these pesticides, it was useful to set up a forum in order to capture the needs and expectations of the interested stakeholders in the sector of plant protection, and then we will be able to develop further some improved plant protection products. So, in the context of the project, the aim is to develop and why not commercialize some automated molecular platforms. They will use some artificial intelligence diagnostics for pest detection and pathogens detection. Also, we will develop some biological control agents, and of course, they will be tested in the field regarding their efficacy. As I mentioned previously, the RNA-based pesticides is the main product that will be developed. And also, we will develop some plant resistance inducers, some highly selective juvenoids, and some green chemicals. The overall objective is to reduce the use of chemicals in agriculture, to promote some agronomic and ecological practices, of course, to increase the resilience and the sustainability of the agricultural production, to reduce the biotic stresses of the plants, and of course, to promote some integrated pest management practices generally. As I mentioned earlier, all this will be tested on the field, on actual field. And of course, the overall objective is to address also social, economic, and environmental aspects. For this reason, despite the laboratory work that is taking place, we are going to organize 6 workshops and 5 living labs in total throughout the whole project duration in order to stay in contact with the final end user, who actually is the farmer. And for this reason, we are also collaborating with some cooperatives, the Coopego and the Agricultural Cooperative of Timbaki, Greece, so as to stay in contact with the final user and see actually how these products will be used and how they can help them to do their production more sustainably. And of course, we will make all this knowledge sustainable by developing our best practices handbook, which will be available online on our website. And there we will collect all the best practices and knowledge produced during the project in order to make it available for the next generations to use it and make further research. Here you can see the forum I mentioned earlier. The forum is a virtual place, let's say, where we try to maintain the open dialogue between interested stakeholders. If someone of you is a company, a project, or a research institute, or even a farmer that is interested to join, you can just email me, and then I will give you further instructions. In this forum, as I said, we maintain the open dialogue. We try to see the actual needs that exist now. We try to share experiences and to take the experiences of other companies that have already commercialized the similar products in the market. And in this way, we're going to develop further our products. Also, our website has the Innovation Hub, where the objective is to share with the community, not only the scientific community, but also the general public, some insights, let's say, of the sustainable pest management sector. For example, if you become a registered member, you can access several workshops, job openings, success stories, and many more that are available on our website. So by clicking login, then a pop-up window appears, and in this way you can register and gain access to all this. So this that's all about NextGen BioPest. Please follow us on social media. We are quite active there, and stay updated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Angeliki, for this interesting presentation. And this explains what you said in the beginning of your presentation, the registration we had from Canada, because many people wanted to watch our event, but it is 4 a.m. there now, so it was not so easy.
And just to mention here, Katarina, that we are in constant communication with our stakeholders, because I saw that Mr. Yusuf is also here. He is from AgroFood Consulting. They are members of our stakeholders forum, and I saw that he also asked something. So this shows that in NextGen BioPest, we actually stay in touch with the end user, which is also the stakeholder, the farmer, the university professor. We try to engage all interested parts.
And this also links to some elements from the first presentation of Mr. Livanos on the skills, that apparently all the skills and everything required and competencies are not strictly about green skills, but also the communication skills, management, all are required in a circular economy.
Of course.
All competencies. Even the legislative knowledge and skills in order to make the laws to apply. So everything is very connected, and all the goals for sustainable developments are tackled.
Of course. And at the end of the day, communication is very important, communication skills, because the science and the knowledge produced has to reach the final user. This is
exactly
what science communication, so it is very important.
Exactly, and this is also a challenge because we have so much knowledge, so much scientific results, but in the end, if they don't reach the end users or the young people especially, then this doesn't work. Thank you very much, Angeliki. So we move on to our next speaker, Mrs. Laura Fortea Ballester, also from the Smart Agro Hub. And she will present us the Excel for Med project on sustainable innovation in the Mediterranean food industry. Laura, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Laura Fortea Ballester. I also work for Smart Agro Hub as a Dissemination, Exploitation and Communication Manager. And one of the projects we are involved in, it's Excel for Med. I will present an overview of the project. So Excel for Med is a 4-year project. It started last year in January, and it will end in December 2026. It's also funded by the Horizon Europe program, specifically under the Coordination and Support Action. It involves 14 partners, mostly from Greece and Malta, but we also have a partner from France. And our coordinator is the National and Capodistrian University of Athens. And finally, the total cost and EU contribution to our project is around 3.7 million euros. So what's the aim of Excel for Med? The overarching objective of our project is to create an excellence hub in the Mediterranean fruit supply chain. So we aim to strengthen the innovation ecosystems in the regions, in the region of the Mediterranean, and specifically in the countries that are participating in the project, which are Malta, Greece, and France. How? We are trying to implement green technologies to produce nutritious food and maximizing the use of byproducts, specifically on citrus fruits and pomegranates. And through this collaboration between these 3 countries, we will try to enhance, improve our food value chain, and of course, promote sustainable growth, because our objective is to also tackle the major challenge that implies the waste, food waste. So our project is trying to achieve these 5 main objectives. The first one refers to the development of an excellent and sustainable, innovative ecosystem, both in Malta and in Greece. We will also try to create joint research and innovation strategies among these countries, and create pilot projects demonstrating our solutions on food processing and the valorization activities. Of course, we will try also to create new business models and opportunities, especially for small and medium enterprises based in these countries, and to achieve an improved knowledge transfer and the development of entrepreneurial skills in this industry. So I presented more or less general information about the project, but if we want to go in more into detail and understand what's the purpose, what are the benefits related to the project, I would like to share a few words from our project coordinator, Associate Professor Vasilis Baltramidis, from the National and Capodistrian University of Athens. It's a short video, so let's see it.
The problem of food waste in Europe is quite big, in the sense that every year we generate 88 million of tons of waste, and this is an issue that has to be addressed because it's very much linked to the climate change impact, to the emissions, and also to the lack of resilience in our food supply chains. Excel for Med is an innovative European project which focuses on using green technologies which are applied to valorize waste that comes from the fruit industry. And what we try to do through that is actually to reduce this type of waste and develop functional products that are enriched from bioactive compounds which are coming from that waste. The project will address sustainability in the food industry by trying to integrate new type of technologies and strategies that are dealing with the valorization of the food waste. And this valorization will make available bioactive compounds to produce new functional food products. Now, this means that at the end, what we managed to do is we managed to have a resilient food supply chain which makes a number of different food products available to our consumers. Excel for Med supports local farmers, and it's a core of this type of project by organizing living labs. And in these living labs, we try to bring together farmers which are interacting with consumers and also with different stakeholders and companies. So we exchange information, ideas and strategies which are expected to have added value to the farmers directly. The project itself has a lot of benefits for local business and consumer, in the sense that with the local businesses we try to take into account the current needs, and by the end of the project we want to make available to them optimized and green technologies which can help on this valorization and the reduction of the waste. For the consumers, also through the activities of the living labs, we try to get feedback on what are the current needs, and at the same time we try to engage them to some decision making that we need to make in the food supply chains. This project is expected to have a long-term impact in relation to the agricultural practices and also in relation to the sustainability in the food supply chains, especially on the fresh produce. Because we try to introduce strategies which can be resilient for the production of products like pomegranate and citrus fruits. It's very easy to be engaged and follow the activities of the project. So we have a website and we have social media which you can be a follower. But at the same time, you can come and join some of our events. So we have workshops, and you can even participate to our living labs and be part of this project itself. So please try to join us, and if you have questions, just write to us.
So these are our partners involved, and sorry. So as Vasilis said, please stay connected with us, follow our latest developments through our social media. We also have the website, of course, is our main hub for all the information. And this video, if you want to rewatch it, it's also available on our YouTube channel. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Laura. I see that we have two questions that are not answered, one for Angeliki and the other for Ilias Livanos. But I suggest that, Yorgos, we go on with your presentation on the EU funding opportunities in the fields of circular economy and clean industry. Very quickly, we are exactly on our time, and then we can allow some minutes for answering these questions and for more. So, Yorgos Panagopoulos, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Katerina. So my presentation has to do with EU funding and how can this project, how can this technology be used in practice? How can somebody implement units that produce such products with the support of European funding? Of course, European funding has also been used in order to implement such research activities, but now we will be mostly talking about their commercial exploitation and the tools provided by the European Commission and other structures in order to be able to successfully implement such projects, such research, such innovation projects. So in general, the tools that are provided might have the form of grants, meaning funding that somebody receives from the European Commission and does not have the obligation to return this back. We do have loans in the framework of which somebody can lend money from banks with the support of the European Commission, but he or she has to return them back under beneficial terms, I have to say. And finally, we have equity opportunities, meaning that there are opportunities to get in touch with business angels or venture capitals who will be able to fund your project on exchange of stocks of your company. Now, in terms of grants, in general, we have European programs that we'll discuss about them. We have national programs, cascade funding opportunities, meaning funding provided by projects and not directly from European Commission, as well as other funding programs at the interregional or local level. Let's start by talking about European programs. All of those funding opportunities can be found on the Funding and Tenders Opportunities portal. You can easily find it by searching on Google for it. So this is the place in the website on which you will find all the funding on the calls which is offered by the European Commission directly. Such funding programs which are incorporated in the above-mentioned platform are the Horizon Europe program, which is the funding instrument of the European Commission for supporting research and innovation, and which offers opportunities both for sole organizations or researchers in some cases, and consortia, meaning synergistic structures among universities, enterprises, and other organizations who jointly apply for funding. Other funding opportunities can be found under LIFE program, which is a program supporting projects which are related to the environment. I'm sorry, and actually addressed to entities such as universities, enterprises, municipalities, and others. And we also have Interreg program, and Interreg Med is something which runs right now, which actually offers funding for interregional projects that have to do with collaboration between or among neighboring countries. So we have Interreg programs that support the collaboration between Greece and Albania, or Greece and Bulgaria, or Greece and Italy, etc. And this also involves opportunities in the field of environment and agro-food. Besides this funding, which comes directly from the European Commission, we also have national programs, such as ESPA, which offers funding, in this case, from the Ministry of Development, which is offered both from the Ministry of Development, such as PEP, the well-known PEP, which actually offers opportunities which are available specifically for certain regions. So there are different funding opportunities for Attica region, different funding opportunities for the Macedonia region, and different funding opportunities for Peloponnese or Crete. And something relatively new, the Next Generation EU, or RRF program, which is offered by many different ministries, and incorporates opportunities that are either in the form of loans with beneficial terms comparing to commercial loans, as well as grants. A well-known grant offered by Next Generation EU is the energy saving scheme that support small and medium enterprises in order to and families, of course, individuals, in order to actually implement certain activities that can support the energy conservation, for example, of buildings, or in order to buy equipment which is more environmental friendly because it consumes less energy, etc. And finally, we have LEADER program, which supports agricultural related projects at a local level, so in the region of Arcadia in Peloponnese, from where I happen to have been born. There are opportunities for the farmers who would like to receive funding in order to implement projects that can actually enhance their production, their overall yield. Besides that, we do have opportunities under the EU tenders scheme, meaning that in some cases the European Commission or other public entities make announcements about procurement that they would like to procurement actions that they would like to make. So companies can apply for them and actually offer their services or products directly to the European Commission. And finally, we do have the access to finance website through which someone can find opportunities for loans, not only in Greece, but in other countries as well, in order to implement projects in the field of agro-food, such as, for example, the construction of factories that produce products such as those that were previously referred by the other colleagues. At a private level, we have some microfinance opportunities, meaning philanthropic institutions from which someone, a small company or a startup, can get funding from a small amount of money, usually up to 20,000 euros, in order to develop a startup. And we have venture capitals or business angels at a private level again, which can offer a greater amount of funding to those who are interested in developing such projects. So this was my presentation. Of course, I would be happy to accept questions, but we do have some more questions until then. Of course, dear colleagues, dear friends, if you have something to ask, not only for my presentation, but also for the previous ones, please free in order to do so. And first of all, I would like to start with a question towards Mr. Livanios from CEDEFOP. And this has to do with the green skills, since Mr. Livanios, it's well known, and it's a fact that many Greek enterprises and organizations have not adopted green practices yet. And it is a question if those students or prospective employees who would like to work in Greek enterprises were to be trained on skills that have to do with green economy, and if this is something that would add to their CVs, since Greek enterprises might not be ready yet in order to exploit these skills. Maybe in the future, yes, but what happens now? Please, Mr. Livanios, if you can kindly answer this question, we would have been obliged.
George, I think he's not here. Maybe he had a technical issue because I don't see his name.
Okay, maybe we can go to the next question then. No problem with this. And this question is towards you, Angeliki. Actually, you referred about an incubator that you host as AgroHub, and I would like to ask if this incubator is open only to the Agricultural University of Athens students or to other people as well, for example, startups or students from the American Farm School. So if you can elaborate on this, please.
Yes, thank you for the question. The incubator is not available only for students from the Agricultural University of Athens. It is not only available for students generally. It is available for innovative ideas, for people in the agri-food sector that want to establish a startup and that they have already something in mind. So you don't have to be a student of the university.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So are there any other questions on behalf of the audience, please? If not, I would like to thank you very much for being here and attending.
Thank you very much. I think we covered all the issues we had promised. We had a good overview of all the funding, also the direct from the European Union, but also the national and funds at regional level at all scales, funded by different actors. We had also overview of various projects and the technologies they promote, but also the skills that suggest. One thing is for sure that synergies are necessary in order to make a real change and to go to respond to the future needs and remain competitive. Thank you very much all. Angeliki, do you have to add something from your side?
From our side, as Smart AgroHub, we would like to thank you all very much. We are more than happy to assist you in any questions you may have. So please contact me or Laura, and not only for the projects, the European projects, but also for the other services I mentioned. So we will be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much. I hope you all got a little inspiration by all these very interesting projects and promising. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day and also a good holiday period that it's very close.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.